Yo. What
Yo.
it is, my G's. What it is, my G's. Yo, this is how we doing. We're doing it a little bit different, yo. Envy and Charlemagne gonna red cup it up. All right. I got some
And this guy's
mystery
got a
juice.
freaking
He got a Stanley.
the Stanley Cup over there. He's drinking a green juice.
Drink it out of a Stanley
He
Cup.
probably got
You
a
know
green
what I
juice
mean?
in there.
Yo, y'all know what it is, man. Let's have a good show. Shout out to Ra. I mean, Ra and Jay, they rock with me tonight. Fucking, Cash, unfortunately, and L couldn't make it. So shout out to my guys. Hopefully they tune it in, watch it later. But we're gonna hold it down. We're gonna give y'all all the latest news. We got a little hip hop to talk about today. Real sports talk. Y'all already know what it is, man. We're gonna have some fun drinking. Make sure you like and subscribe. Go check out the merch. We're gonna keep shouting it out. New York to the fullest. Yo, salute my dudes.
Hello.
I pull out a shot. I don't know.
Y'all was prepared. I would see. That was a trick shot. I want you motherfuckers. You motherfuckers.
You'll never catch us slipping, dog.
Yo, never. Yo. I didn't even know Q had that. Q had that shit like a nigga.
You'll never catch us slipping, dog.
You're not gonna catch me sleeping, bro. That shit was my idea in the first place to take a shot in the beginning. That's my favorit part of the whole show.
This shit was set up, ready to go, just in case. What's good? Yo, how's your week? How's your week been? What's going on? How's the weekend?
Good, man. Yo, I know you in Texas, but yo, Rob, it's getting hot as fuck out here.
Yo. I don't know if y'all noticed, I'm very New York today. I'm in a white t-shirt. And that's I'm like everything else is too hot to wear right now. I think I got every fan in the world going on here right now. So it's Texas hot out here in New York right now. But
it's like 90-something degrees, feels like 105. Tomorrow's supposed to feel like 110. I was like, oh, this ain't cool. My AC running on overload right now.
Speaking of Texas hot, let's talk about it. Your boy Kevin Dito, the Slim Reaper, is on the move again. What's up? How we feeling about this, fellas? Talk to me. I know you got some shit to say, so what's up? Talk to
me. And you know what? Last week we talked about does it automatically make them contenders, right? When we were talking about, the Grizzlies and all that shit that happened with Desmond Bane. I think it definitely improved it and moved the needle, unlike what Jay felt. But I think this moves the needle a lot more for the Rockets, man. Like, they're gonna have a really good team, especially if KD can stay healthy. It's gonna be a problem. They finished in second place last year. They won 52 games. Like, the Rockets are secretly getting really good now. They can't do that run and gun shit like OKC. OKC is still gonna be that type of team, but the Rockets can play defense. They got the other twin that gave us a fucking headache, Thompson, over there. They got Sengun, Fred VanVleet. He's always good. Adding KD right there, it's going to be a real big problem. And I think this is interesting. I'm glad he stood his ass on the Western Conference. Stay the fuck over there, because we all know, and maybe we can talk about later, that, there's a whole bunch of teams getting injured and, a whole bunch of players, and, they're going to need the help out here in the Eastern Conference. But I'm glad he didn't come over here to give us so we'd have to deal with that. So that's one less headache that we have to worry about. And hopefully now the Knicks have an easier path to win a chip next year. But I personally agree and think that KD, I think I wouldn't say contenders, but they could definitely go to the finals. I mean, the Western Conference Finals. Like, are they gonna win? I think that's where they have to go. I think if they don't make it to the Western Conference Finals, it's gonna be a failed season, in my opinion.
I agree. I think KD to Houston, it did more than move the needle. It really made them really, really formidable. I was talking with Ra and one of our friends, Bronson, and we were talking about who they lost in terms of the trade itself. And I don't feel that Jalen Green really was a loss in my book. I think he regressed in his second year. And I don't think that, even though Dillon Brooks is a baller, he's a hooper, I don't think that he's like those two together combined. I don't think make up a KD. I think KD is a good defender. He's not a super defender, but he's a good defender. He can get a shot from anywhere, whether you want to go mid, you want to stretch it out and go 3-pointer, he can go to the cup. He's a headache as far as whoever has to guard against him, being able to handle the ball at 6'11. It's just overall just a better look. Now you pair him up with, like you said, Van Vliet and Sengun, Alpha Sengun, but you also got coaching over there that knows how to plan for that type of style of basketball. He did it very well in Boston, and I don't see any reason why he can't duplicate that type of performance with the amount of talent that he has over in Houston. The second part, just to kind of piggyback on what you said, it absolutely gives the Knicks a much smoother path, because you're going to see that Boston ain't going to be the same next year. We know Milwaukee ain't going to be the same because they may not even have Giannis, whether he comes to the Knicks or not. He won't be, I don't think, in Milwaukee. Plus, they're missing Dame. And then you also have Indiana that'll probably take a little bit of a step back, even though I think Indiana is the team that really could probably survive it more than Boston and Milwaukee. I think that the team that's set up best to perform without that player would be Indiana. It creates one of those moments where you'll see that New York, no matter what, we still have pretty much all our pieces intact. And if we just get a coach, and let's say we do add someone, I don't know, I'm not going to, maybe we do get Giannis, maybe we don't, but,
We don't even know who's driving
right
the car
now,
in New York.
huh?
Niggas don't even know who's driving the car in New York right now.
Right. But what I'm saying to you is what we do have as far as in the way of talent, we know that talent is formidable, right? And I think that it's safe to say that I think we might have been able to beat Indiana had we been set up for success earlier in the year as far as getting our bench players acclimated to the possibility of playing deep into the season, playing meaningful basketball in May and June. I don't think we did that. And that's why we looked the way we looked, a 5, 6, 7-man rotation up against a 9 to 10-man rotation is uncomfortable for any squad when you got 82 games of basketball under your belt. So that's what we experienced. So as far as us being set up for success, it puts a lot of pressure on us too. Because if we don't, what's the excuse now? Boston don't have, really no answer. Milwaukee doesn't really have an answer. It'll just be us against either Detroit and Orlando will be the real two options, and neither one of those teams made it out of the first round last year. So those will be the teams that we'll be looking at in the playoffs to have to offset.
So Rob, obviously the same question. We want to know, the Rockets definitely, I feel like they did give up a lot. 5 picks, 2 players. You know what I mean? Like, and we saw 10th and 10th overall. Like, and we saw what they had to, what basically the what Desmond Bain was costing out there. So obviously we knew the streets is gonna be talking. Like, all right, this is what fuck. If that's what Desmond Bain is worth, the fuck is KD gonna be worth, right? Like, do you think that was a lot to give up to get a KD in order to get them and set them up to where they potentially could be next year as well?
Q, I'm going to answer your question specifically, and I also want to piggyback off a little bit what Jay said. But to answer your question specifically, no, it wasn't an argument. It's the market price at this point. The market price. Market set. Any piece that moves is going to be any major piece that moves is going to be similar to what we just saw. So no, the Rockets did not overpay. What the Rockets did is they put themselves in a win now window, right? They were number 2 in the West last year, and that was against already stacked West, right? And not for nothing, for whatever reason, KD, Book, Bees, that shit just wasn't working in Phoenix. For whatever reason, these are 3 future Hall of Famers, so to speak. Phoenix absolutely loses in this case because Jalen Williams is, clearly what Phoenix is just showing you is this is going to be Book's team. They're invested with Book. Booker's going to be a lifelong son. That's it. They're trying to figure out what to put around him and how to put around him and how to make it run, and that's where the picks come in. So they have to ask for that. It's only fair if they're going to move a piece like KD, who literally is a win now player. He's a win now kind of player. So the Rockets want to win right now. They're in a better position to win right now. I don't think Phoenix made that move to be a win now team next year. They're showing you who they're investing in at this point. That's all. Because you got to look at what has Phoenix given up over the last 4 or 5 years. They've given up Ayton. They've given up a lot of shit except for one piece that they keep trying to build around, and it's just for whatever reason they haven't hit their stride. Book is still in his prime. Book is still book is still book, right?
Mhm.
But they like,
Mhm.
yo, we got they. I think they feel that they got 4 or 5 years to put the right pieces around book to make an actual legitimate run, and that's what you're seeing out of Phoenix. As far as Houston goes, Houston says we were number 2 last year. We're going to put a short shot green light bet on our team, and that's KD. I think Dylan Brooks, okay. To my man Bronson's point, if he's watching this shit, Dylan Brooks is only a good piece to trade. He's a great piece of trade bait. He was that from fucking when he was on with the Grizzlies. Was it the Grizzlies, right? He's just that kind of guy. He's not. There's not a lot of fallback. I don't think Houston's going to lose a defensive presence because they move Brooks. Jalen, what you call it? What's son's name? What's the kid's name?
Cool.
What's the other kid?
Jalen Green, Dylan Brooks.
Yeah, Jalen Green.
Jalen Green.
Jalen Green did regress in his second year. He definitely he didn't step up to the plate last year. You know what I'm saying? If there's somebody that's gonna get traded,
It's horrible in the playoffs.
right? Like he absolutely shrunk in the moment, right? So it's kind of like he didn't make a case to say we're working together. They're saying, hey, listen, if him and Brooks are our best trade pieces for Kevin Durant, that's a W. I don't give a fuck how many draft picks you got to give up.
1,000%.
So
1,000%.
that's a W. I think, like I said, if Houston was number 2 last year, Houston is still 9 times out of 10, they're going to be a top 3 team in the West with the potential to take the West.
They'll be number 2 again. I think, like realistically, I don't know that.
I'm sorry, go ahead.
No, go ahead. No. Go ahead.
In addition to what Q said, he was like, oh, KD can stay fucking healthy. That's how Houston is built for that nigga to not have to run. They don't got to run him into the ground. That's how Udoka's depth and the way that team is built is to sustain KD throughout the year. KD's not even going to have to. You probably 29, 31 minutes max for KD as a workload this year.
And a lot of that will come later in late game situation. You know what I mean? Because he's a closer. He closes the game. That's one of the reasons why I thought that he might be good for us, because as Knicks fans, I'm always looking at it and I say to myself, like, it'd be the last like 90 seconds of every quarter that we end up getting killed on, and that's how we end up giving up these ridiculous, getting into these 20-point holes. You have a guy that can absolutely finish a quarter and finish a game at any given moment.
I love how we're talking about the Rockets right now, and it keeps coming back to the Knicks. I guess it's just because we're New Yorkers. By the way, Q, that hat is fired. I disagree with you on that, though, Jay, because that's was it sheer? On the other side of your hat was sheer, Jay?
Smash. It's
It's pantyhose. Listen.
That's correct.
Yo.
For my waves.
I disagree, Pete, because if this was the same trade with New York, I would say New York lost because we would have to mortgage what we have. We'd have to give up the picks and the depth to bring KD over to put us into a right now win scenario that might not happen because of the way the West is. Yeah, right. Okay, well now we walk to the finals and still can't do it. You know what I'm saying? So no, it would have been a bad look for New York to take KD. We would have had to give up too much. That would have been old Knicks. That would have been old Knicks moves. Give up everything to get another superstar name and cross our fingers and hope that it works. The Knicks would have lost in that trade. Phoenix,
well, here's my question. At some point, the conversation is going to come up. Are we going to make that type of decision when it comes to like a Giannis? What's the difference between Giannis versus KD? Age, style of play. We're gonna have to give up some shit.
It's absolutely age, style of play, and fucking health. If you want to look at it from that aspect, but it's also KD doesn't have the long. KD is on the back 9 of his career right now. KD plays 2-3 more years. Giannis got like 6 years. You know what I'm saying? So to give up that type of shit for Giannis, you could say if the Knicks miss for the next 2 seasons, we still have Giannis and Jalen as our team. We might strike gold in our 3rd year with whatever group it is, right? So if you're going to mortgage your team, you can't do it for KD right now. And the Knicks can't do it. The Knicks can't do it. That it will be asinine for the Knicks to do it because it doesn't guarantee them anything. This guarantees Houston something. Houston might. I'm saying here right now, I would not be surprised if not only are they already looking like a front runner, I would not be surprised if Houston won it all next year, no matter what. Because whatever's coming out of the East, right now the Knicks got to be the number one team coming out the East, right? Right now, right? Or Orlando. And I don't know what Philly necessarily does, but there aren't too many indies fucked because yes, they're the more sustainable team without Halliburton because this just proves my point with who Halliburton was in the first place. This ain't to shit on the guy. The guy's an excellent basketball player. No lie. He's a good player, but that's all he is. He's literally, you know what Carlisle did with Halliburton is? You gotta watch him because if he gets hot, he's hot. But he literally hides in every game. He hides in every game. He's somebody that you gotta say, damn, well, what is he gonna do? And even when he doesn't do it, then the real leader of that team, who's Siakam, that's the real core of that team, right?
Well, he's a leading scorer.
He's the core of the fucking team, bro. He's the core of that fucking team. Halliburton is the fucking face, but he's the core.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying? You know, Halliburton is fucking Benny Blanco, and Siakam is fucking a combination of Conway and fucking West Side Gun. He's the real motherfucker. You know,
it's for you. It's for you, Rob. You said,
Okay.
Yo, how did Jalen Green regress? Yo, shout out to keeping it $1. How did Jalen Green regress this season? He averaged 21 points and played all 82 games.
Shout out to keeping it $1. Great question. I guess I would say the eye test, right? Where was that in the playoffs for your guy? Answer that.
I agree.
Where was the 21 point where was that at in the playoffs? Where was that performance when they needed it to be that performance? And honestly,
he looked lost. He shrunk.
He didn't look lost. He was lost. Or maybe, you know what? Maybe it's because that's, you know, sometimes people literally like his last name, no puns intended, but maybe he's too green for the moment right now, right? So do you stick with him? Because Green can't shoot. Oh, what's up, Rob?
And he averaged single digits in the playoffs. Yeah, he's even.
Yo, what up, Cash?
Yeah,
right. Cash,
Rob,
Green can't shoot up. He averaged
Oh,
single digits in the playoffs.
Let the guard have his alias. Let the guard have his alias. What's wrong with y'all?
But no, to keep it a Bucks point, my question to you would be, where was that when you needed it? And I take it you must, you know, you're probably a Houston Rockets fan. You're not mad at this trade either. You're not mad at this trade.
And somebody just said it. We glad he out of the H.
There it goes. Shout out to Mr. 713TX. Yo, and again, this ain't shitting on. I'm really not trying to shit on Green. I'm just trying to I'm piggybacking off of what Jay just said. It looked like regression. It's a move that you got to make if you can make that move. It's a move that you have to make because KD puts the Rockets in a 1-2
better position
spot to say, yo,
puts him in a better position. You got to think what we saw. He was not not only was Jalen Green not the 1, he wasn't the 2 or the 3. To be honest, exactly. I don't know. He was the 4. You know, when we watched and when we needed, you know, to really see where people's heart was at. You had Sengun as the 1. Then Thompson, you had and Van Vliet.
Like these are the guys that really stepped up. Sengun, Thompson, who I think is
Van Vliet went off. Like he absolutely he showed his worth in spades. Like that was absolutely like I was blown away. I didn't know that he had that type of scoring capability. I mean, he didn't really light the world on fire, at least scoring wise in Toronto. He was a great guard in Toronto, but he wasn't the scorer that I saw in this postseason with Houston. And maybe some of it was through necessity. Some of it might be scheme as far as the way Ime Udoka is setting him up for success. But I feel like that should have been those buckets should have been by Jalen Green as opposed to what seeing that coming from Van Vliet. I just don't feel like he fit in that scheme. And I think like I said, I think he shrunk. So regress, I think, is the right word. I understand the 21 points per game, 82 games in every game this season, but some of that, you know, could be seen as meaningless or empty calorie points in some cases because they were, you know, blowing teams out a little bit too. So, you know, I don't know. Like I think that it was the right move as far as what you gave up in order to get a great one like KD. Now, one other thing before I go on this is KD we got to be
It's
cautious with
KD.
KD. Hold on. There's a flip side to that KD coin, right? KD is KD. He's a hooper, one of the greatest hoopers that we've ever seen, probably one of the greatest scorers we've ever seen. Cash was dead ass correct when he said that he can defend. He can defend. He's a good on ball defender. He's got length, pause.
I don't know
Stay
about that
alert.
though, because Ant-Man had him looking silly.
I mean, 1 or 2 plays. Anybody, Ant-Man's gonna have anybody looking silly 1 or 2 plays. Somebody's always going to get got. But I mean, let's be realistic. Like, over his career, KD is not a motherfucker that you just gonna steal on. You're not gonna just make him look bad. Over his career, the big body of work, he gets loose, right? So, but what I was gonna say was, KD has been in situations where he's had some significant big threes. Now, granted, the first big three early in his career, he had James and Russell. For whatever reason, that didn't work, right? Mm-hmm. James left first, and he left, and Russ left, right? He gets over to Golden State. He's got a big four essentially because he's got Steph, he's got Green, and he's got Clay, right? So he's in that mix, and he's probably the first or second option between him and Steph, right? But for whatever reason, that didn't fucking work. He wanted to be on his own. He gets over to Brooklyn. Now he's got another big three. He's got him, James again, and Kyrie. And then guess what? That didn't fucking work. Then he goes to Phoenix and they form some form of a semblance of a big three with Book and fucking
and Beal.
Bradley Beal, right? And that shit didn't work. How many more big threes are we gonna put KD in?
Yeah, and this is what and this is what I said in the last episode, because I didn't want the Knicks to be a part of that whole shenanigans, bro, because we're gonna get murdered. We're gonna get murdered in the media, man. Like, especially if we don't win, and however long his tenure may have been potentially if he would have came to the Knicks. So now, and then depending on what we would have given up, like
everything,
because
everything to do
exactly. And then we're back to the 2012 New York Knicks gave up everything. Now we really got to win now, because like now, like I see why the Rockets did this, because that is the new mentality. You got to shoot threes and you got to try to win that year, because taking 3-4 fucking years, especially when you have these young guys, everybody want to check, everybody's gonna go to another team. It's not that loyalty that you're gonna stay, like, there's not that many Kobe's and Greek freaks around, like they just get drafted by the team and be like, yo, fucking I'ma just really want to stay here. And I'm pretty sure if they surrounded Giannis with the type of talent that he would need and not be so frustrated at grabbing the team and putting them on his back every time, there's gonna be the majority of the people who are just like KD. I need to go somewhere else. I need to go win, and I'm gonna go to a team that's gonna win now. And then the NASDAQ is crashing, everybody's getting foreclosures, and all the teams are giving up all their property, and you know what I mean? Like, I gotta win right now. And I think it's a good move for the Rockets, and I think we're gonna definitely see it, because now it's going to be such a problem for the Lakers now. LeBron's going to have to step up, and the Lakers don't even have a center. So now the Rockets essentially now have two. Like, imagine having to go like Sengun and now KD. Like, that's going to be a nightmare. Like, you know what I mean? Like, the only other team that's going to probably be able to stay with them is OKC. You know what I mean? Because the Grizzlies,
like Denver is Denver.
Denver's going to do it, but yo, Denver, they're slowing down. I don't see any fight in them. After they won their chip, I don't see any more real fight in them. I think Jamal Murray is way too overrated. I think it's just the Joker doing everything, and he's playing timeless basketball. Homie's doing shit that we haven't seen a center ever do.
Right. Like, I think last year.
Don't sleep on Aaron Gordon.
Yeah, and Aaron Gordon.
I think that last year was Jamal Murray's trap year, which means we're supposed to say he doesn't look the same. I think Jamal Murray goes to the gym.
He was injured for a bit too, though.
I think Jamal Murray goes to the gym. I think Jamal Murray looks at it and says, "I'm the reason why when we weren't able to run it back. I hurt us better than help us." And I say that Denver is still a top 3 team no matter what. The only other trap team on the West that you always just gotta be scary of. If there's a healthy Steph Curry, and for however reason that Golden State team, when it gets to running, it gets to running. That rounds up your bottom half of the West right now. It's Golden State.
I mean, they'll have a full offseason with Jimmy Butler too, so you'll see
Oh,
that Steph
yeah.
and Jimmy Butler, you know, they'll
think-
figure out how to coexist, and that'll start to look a lot better than it did towards
As
the
a-
end of this last season.
As of right now, as the West is currently constructed with the pieces, with the moves that have currently been made, I'm looking at OKC, followed by Houston Rockets, which means not only did they not fall in the needle, they've strengthened their number two. Their number two now rivals what OKC just did. I say the third team will probably be Minnesota.
Yeah.
Depending on how they operate. I think as much as I'm like, I don't want to hear no more about the Ant-Man shit, but it's still Ant-Man. I think he now has the proverbial chip on his shoulder. You know what I'm saying? So you still and 5 would have to be, say LA has got to be anywhere between 6 and 5 and 7. LA is still, and
I mean they still need a center.
But mind you, I'm talking about both LAs.
Oh yeah, of course.
That's what I was about to say, because you got the Clippers and the Lakers, and then
Oh,
we got the
if
It's
Spurs.
the Lakers. The Lakers have to show up the middle. They got it.
No, number 5 is the Clippers. The Spurs.
And then you're right. The Spurs. Yeah, the Spurs. I mean, they're gonna look.
The Spurs and the Lakers are rounding up the bottom. And again,
I don't think we can overlook Dallas. I think Dallas has to have some. You got to pay attention to that.
Kyrie's not playing next year.
We don't know that he's not playing the entire year. Kyrie may be back by the All-Star break. He was the first to go down, and it's a knee. It's not an ankle.
Yeah,
right?
It was an ACL, right?
First of all,
so there's a
You
different level.
Dallas is a play-in team, or maybe a very dangerous play-in team, depending on what Kyrie looks like when he comes back.
Okay,
Because
I can deal with that.
We know what they're really gonna do is right now they got what AD. They fucking
Cooper Flag.
Cooper Flag is gonna be something they're trying to figure out. We don't know what.
No, I don't know about that. Cooper Flag's gonna make an immediate impact.
I don't know that. Cooper Flag ain't fucking Wemby. He's good, but he's not Wemby.
Nah, he's real good.
He's not Wembyama. Wembyama was an actual cheat code where it's kind of like, yo, from the first game, he was like, nah, they wilded out when they drafted this kid.
Bro, I think you're gonna see. I agree. Dallas is more than a playoff team.
So then what? You putting Dallas in front of the Lakers?
I am. I think they'll.
Without Kyrie?
No. I think once Kyrie comes back, they'll be a lot better. But
you don't know what their record's gonna be by the time Kyrie comes back.
Even deeper than that, the Lakers don't have a middle of the fucking court yet. They still don't have a center, bro.
You have a whole offseason to figure that out.
The offseason ain't that goddamn long, bro.
No, bro. They did the whole.
They got till October, and remember the trade deadline is when.
What if the Lakers get fucking Nance?
What if the Lakers
go out and get Nance Jr.?
Free agency starts, I think, like another week and a half.
Another week and a half.
What if the Lakers go out and get Nance Jr.? Is that not a formidable big?
Lance Jr. was there already. He ain't do shit when he was there the first time.
Yo, y'all forget that LeBron can play every position. All he needs is somebody else that can be there too. You can switch LeBron between a 4 and a 5 as you see fit.
Not at 47 years old, bro.
I'm not gonna lie.
Here we go again.
Yo.
Fucking NBA revolves around LeBron, man. This is hilarious.
Balco.
Now look. All right, so let's keep it in the NBA though, but like, let's talk about these finals, because there's a couple of points I want to bring up about OKC.
The most exciting finals that we never saw.
This is crazy, man, because we saw Tyrese Halliburton go down. I'll have you guys take it a game. Do we really think that he even, like, would it even made an impact in that game? I think they still lose. I just don't think they lose by 12 points, but I just think that they still lose. But, I found it odd, and it was a little bit, I was talking to my boy, and I was like, bro, man, Tyrese Halliburton got hurt, and I think I sent it in the chat, like, yo, bro, like, what are the odds in the same playoffs, 3 Eastern Conference teams in the playoffs all tear their Achilles in the playoffs and all wear number 0? I'm like, yo, I think Damian Lillard went to like New Orleans or something and did some voodoo shit on the Eastern Conference. Crazy. Like, yo, I ain't going down alone, man. But, it was sad to see that, obviously, I'm not really, he's the villain for the New York Knicks, especially with all that choking shit. He's the new Reggie for us without that Reggie talent. He's a great point guard. I can see he came to play this playoffs. I still think he's a little bit overrated. I think he's a really good point guard. I don't think he's a superstar. and I don't think they would have won even if he would have played the whole game. But it was a good series. I only really watched it just to see the Pacers lose, to be honest. But it's just sad to see another brother go down, and now what I mean. But where there's bad, there's good, because now, like we said earlier, it does kind of open up the lane for the Knicks a little bit more, So now it kind of makes me upset, and I don't like to go back to this because I know I want to keep it on the finals, and I want you guys takes on how the game went and all this other stuff. There's a couple other conspiracy theories we saw with the buses. But it would have been interesting to see if the Tibbs.
That's Rick Carlisle being a baby at that point, because I'm pretty sure if the game was in fucking Indiana, they would have had buses to say, "What if we win? This is what." Stop it. And Rick Carlisle cried last year with the fucking Knicks, and I felt like his beef helped the refs sway them until the Knicks ran themselves into the ground. Rick Carlisle's an incredible coach, but he's a fucking crybaby. Shut the fuck up. Y'all niggas lost. Your team lost. Your Halliburton, who's the fucking beard of the fucking team, because he's really not real. Like, he's a good player. He's not the guy. He's not. If his first now in that game that they were playing, I'll say this: if he didn't get injured, that would have been a way more interesting game, because he was off to
a hot start.
When Holly hits early, Holly goes like he goes. Like when the bucket goes too early for him.
Hey, yo, when Holly hits early, it goes. Yo, we're not gonna let that slide, bro. That was wild. Stay alert, dog.
You know the funniest. Go ahead, Cat. Go ahead.
I think, Jesus Christ, it's crazy. Oh my God. Wow. No, that reaction was took my words.
All right,
stay alert, dog.
I'm gonna tell you the funniest shit about that. I was literally, before the second start, I said, "Wow." I was like, this is the first episode that's been pauseless for this video. 32 minutes and no pauses is wild. And I'm like, it had to be Cash and L. It had to be that they would have won.
Look, keep it a buck. Yo, cue the clip.
Ring him up.
Yo, I don't care. Shit. Yo, Cash L, I don't give a fuck. Yo, we went 32 minutes of pauses podcasting, and it's because y'all wasn't here. Y'all wasn't here. All right, yo.
Oh, man.
Yo, how you know your beat?
You gotta take a look at that. Yo, take a look
at that, yo. But,
shit.
Q, to your point, I think it would have been a more interesting game, because Halliburton is a better player when the game starts for him that way. He's not the kind of guy where, like, if he's stinking it up, he's literally at that point, he's just a smokescreen.
You're gonna get a full 48 minutes of bullshit.
A full 48 minutes of hot potato. And that's who he is. That's why he's good, but he's not great. And that's why, to Jay's point, that's the most sustainable team with an injury like that. It's not gonna be Boston. We don't know what Boston. I mean, I still think this is Brown's moment to say, put the team on my back. But we also don't know what's going to happen if they lose White. Like, we don't know what pieces. Boston's going to lose some pieces in this offseason. They can't afford to keep that ship going. They can't. So the East is still wide open, but I don't want to just put the Knicks as the team that's coming out of there. And I'm a Knicks fan because, again, the Knicks haven't even answered the questions that I need to know, like, who's driving the fucking bus, bro? And no, we shouldn't trade Cat. And if I'm not mortgaging a team to get Giannis and move without, like, before the Knicks make any trades, the Knicks need to find out who their fucking coach is.
No, I agree with that. That I definitely agree with. I think we have to have somebody in that chair before we start moving pieces around, because we have to know kind of like what the offensive and defensive scheme is going to be, what the game plan is going to be for whoever is going to be leading that group. So I think that it's definitely necessary for them to have somebody in that chair and at least understand the direction of what the product's going to look like on the basketball court. Because if we leave it like this, it's too ambiguous. We don't know where to, like, you could, now at this point, you start shopping for groceries, you have no idea what the fuck you cooking. You know what I'm saying?
So a lot of people saying that this is, and this question is for you, Jay. So a lot of people saying like, this was a boring finals, and shit was corny. I didn't even like the first game or two. They didn't even put like the trophy or a stat like promote that it was the finals. It looked like a regular game. Like, you know what I mean? The playing tournament had like more of a fucking aesthetic to show that they were actually playing for some type of trophy. But it is what it is, and it took that route. But since you were talking about the Knicks, do you think that would have been a better finals? Even though I think we've all agreed that the Knicks probably wouldn't have made a run, but the viewership probably obviously would have been way higher because anytime Knicks is in somewhere, it's good for basketball. It's good for the NBA. Do you think that would have been a better NBA finals, even if the Knicks only won one game?
I think that the Knicks. I think the Knicks would
I'm
have
just
been a
saying.
better.
I'm just
One
saying
second, Jay.
hypothetically.
Why
No.
would you do that? Don't do that. One game.
No, I'm just
That
saying
would've been-
hypothetically. Let's say two
the Knicks
games, even if
would've
they
2
would have
games.
still
They'd
got
have
ran.
to
They still would have got ran over. They still would have got. They still would have got ran.
over. I don't even
Yeah.
know if they would have got ran over if they'd got to that position. I don't know that because look at how Oklahoma City looked. But go ahead, Jay. I'm sorry, I don't want to step on his step, but
No, you're right.
break that
No,
down.
I think that the Knicks would have been a better. I think because it's a better story. What happens outside of Madison Square Garden absolutely vastly captivates the rest of the world. When you win those games and the whole fucking Manhattan is going crazy, and remember, New Yorkers travel. New Yorkers are, look, I'm a fucking Queens, New Yorker, and I'm in Texas, and I have people out here rooting for fucking the Knicks, right? So when you look at it through that lens, you absolutely are going to see, I think, just better. I don't want to say better basketball, but probably better basketball. But even deeper than that, you'll have more people that are engaged in watching it. I think that this finals was very. It just it lacked something, right? And I'm not going to say that it lacked star power because Shea is an absolute star. He's a menace. He's great, but it's something very quiet about it, and it doesn't. It lacks luster. What's her name said earlier today, and I thought it was a great statement. Her name is I don't want to wreck her name, Shanae Bamboo. I don't want to fuck it up, but she said something great about Shea, and she said that he's the master of the mundane, and it's exactly that. It's a very boring brand of basketball, but before you know it, he done got dropped 32, got 7 assists, and maybe 7 boards, right? So it's a very effective but boring style of ball. And then there's no like real star power on the other side. If you look at Indiana, there was no the worst rated finals ever. Yeah. If you look at Indiana, they don't have any star power other than if you want to kind of use Tyrese Halliburton as the face. But it didn't move me. And me, Ron Bronson watched a lot of those games on FaceTime, and we found ourselves just like
Cooking food.
about the fucking parlays than we were about the actual product on the court. Like more time we watch the game, like, it's fire. We see some shit. Oh yeah, and then the parlays are involved, but we would just like focus solely on parlays at that point and just watching to see if our number was called. But yeah, it was definitely a bad final. So to answer your question, the long answer, if the Knicks were in it, I think you'll see a lot more attention on it. I think even the pundits would have had a better time with it as far as being able to discuss it.
All right. So I agree with what Jay just said. The only thing I would say is let me not take away from what Oklahoma City just did. They were the best team in the league the entire year. Let's keep it a buck. That was the best team in the NBA for the entire year. So I'm not going to take away from what OKC as a product of basketball was for me to, because I'm a New Yorker. Now, would New York have been a better viewership? Yes. And that's not because it's New York. It's because of major market versus mini market, right? There is no KD. And Shea is a quiet superstar. He's not Kevin Durant. He's not Westbrook. He's not as loud as those people. Now, if one of those two players was still a part of that, let's say if Westbrook was still on OKC or KD, then your viewership is going to go up because they're louder superstars. Shea is a quiet superstar and a small market team. And Indiana is also a small market team, but even Indiana is louder, but there's no clear, like Jay said, there's no clear cut superstar. They pretty much made Halliburton superstar because of the fashion in which he won some games. He did some shit. Halliburton did some he won some games in a fashion where you just didn't see it. Like if there's 2 seconds, he beat the Knicks a few times where it's kind of like 0.4 seconds left and he hits the three and it's a dagger and this team is eliminated. That's what made Halliburton quote unquote superstar. But at the end of the day, there are no clear cut superstars in Indiana. That's Siakam's team. That's Siakam. Siakam is their superstar, right? And again, I don't want to take away from what OKC did. OKC did it, but in my head, this would have been more interesting to me if it wasn't a 7-game series. I feel like the league had to make it a 7-game series because they saw that the viewership was down. We have to get every game. We have to get as many. It would have been more exciting to me if OKC went in there and fucking 4-1. I'd have been like, yo, OKC is the fucking truth. But the fact that OKC took them 7 games is why I said I'm not convinced that OKC is the clear-cut winners of whatever next year is because Indiana took them 7 games, albeit with ref assistance. And the NBA's got to become a little bit more vague with how they're doing this. I don't want to say that the NBA is a WWF, but they've got to get better with how they're scripting it and how they're helping drive their viewership, right? This is a quiet one. There's 2 small market teams with a quiet superstar.
They needed to stretch it out in order to have the money.
You had a quiet superstar in Shea, who's also your MVP. You know what I'm saying? And the numbers say SGA did exactly what he was all year. If you look at the numbers, it just didn't look exciting. It was nothing like, oh,
that's what Cash says. That's what Cash says. He plays below the rim. You know, there's no high flying act. There's no Ringling Brothers and Bottom and Barely Circus. There's none of that shit. You know what I'm saying? It's just.
If I'm being honest, you know who should have been the MVP for the finals to me? Jalen Williams. That motherfucker.
No, not because of one. Not because of one.
Yeah,
one night. No, it wasn't one night.
It was the one night.
It was 3 games.
That 40 point game is what.
That 40-point game was amazing. But every game, if you go look at your parlays, because that's what I did, he increases productivity every game. Well, for that 4-game stretch, Jalen Williams got better and better and better, and Shea was just Shea. Shea was doing what Shea does. Jalen Williams stepped up. Well, I'm kind of like, yo, look at this motherfucker. That's the reality. He was the most exciting player to me, and I'm not just talking about that one game. I'm talking about the last 3-4 games. The most exciting player to watch. Like when I'm like, what the fuck is this kid going to do now? Was Jalen Williams.
I
don't disagree. You don't disagree. I know Jay doesn't agree.
The only reason I do disagree is because, like, of what you just said, right? Like, Shea was Shea. Like the way he went all year. So you telling me he could play like he played the same way he did in the finals, then he did the whole regular season, but still not gonna win? I don't think Jalen Williams did enough. He had to keep improving and keep improving. Shea, if Shea doesn't play consistently like how he did in order to win the season MVP, they might not win at all. Like they probably lose the finals if he doesn't play MVP SGA ball, you know what I mean? Like that's to my, you know, and I did see like, and I even say it was a little bit closer because he had a really good shot. If he would have had like another 40-point game, I would have been like, all right, hold on, man. I think you got to really, you know what I mean? Like, now you got to bring it back to the tape. Like, you know, when Iguodala won the finals MVP that one year, you're like, yo, bro, that was impactful. Like if he would have, like one of those games that they lost, if Jalen Williams would have somehow scored 40 points that game and brought them back and got them that W, aside from the other game he did it with in Game 5, I believe, then arguably you could be like, yo, homie, they don't win without him. You know what I mean? Like he definitely overshadowed SG.
I think Indiana, if Jalen Williams didn't play how he played, I think Indiana might have fucked around and snuck out of here with a championship. Because Shea was Shea, but Jalen Williams played different basketball. He was the other piece that OKC needed to be, because it shouldn't have been, to me, it shouldn't have been 7 games. It shouldn't have been 7 games. And it went 7 games because Indiana's playing their style of basketball. But some of the games where Indiana could have won, they didn't win because of Jalen Williams, not because of SGA, because SGA was the same guy from start to finish. It wasn't Lou Dort. It wasn't fucking It wasn't fucking wasn't nobody
That-
else on OKC.
Yeah, Chet had a horrible first
It
game.
wasn't Chet.
Yeah,
It wasn't
Chet.
Chet.
Yeah.
It wasn't Hartenstein, who also played a decent game, right? It was literally their X factor or their Scottie Pippen was fucking Jalen Williams.
Yo,
Okay, I can go with that.
Yo, and Jay, so Jay, let me ask you this, because now I was doing a little research, and obviously OKC wins the finals, right? They have a potential to become a dynasty. The average age of this team is 25 years old. The next 3 years, OKC has 6 first-round picks, two in every next year for the next 3 years, bro. That is vicious, bro, because the type of shit that they could build now in order to be better next year, like you people thought like, yo, all right, this is the best they could be. They could still get better. There's other pieces out there that they could revolve around. They're gonna reevaluate it. Do you see them winning another chip in the next 3 years with all the pieces that they have, plus any new potential people that they may get?
Yeah, I do. Sam Presti played it correct. Sam Presti played it absolutely correct. He set this team up for the future. And sometimes it comes from unhandcuffing yourself to some of the older players in order to put themselves in position to have draft equity, to make better decisions down the road, and aligning yourself with young talent. Like you said, they have a group of guys that's average age of 25 years old, and they're all getting better, which is scary because they were really good this year. So now imagine you get the opportunity to bring in some more young talent and even further anchor that bench and have more opportunities. And you could even at that point, you could make another assessment. You start to look at people that may or may not necessarily fit in your structure, right? You may take a second look at Dort and say, he's all right, but we may be able to let Dort go and maybe get Aaron Wiggins more action, who's also a scorer. Maybe, make all types of changes can be made. They're in a really good position to get another ring. I don't think they'll go back to back. I'm gonna go on record as saying I don't think they're gonna win again next year. That I don't think. I don't know that it'll be out of the East. It may still be out of the West, but I don't think that they're gonna go back to back. But it would be, I'd be remiss if I said that I don't think that they're gonna win another maybe 2 in the next 5 years. I'll do it that way.
I want to talk to some of these comments. So shout out to G. I don't even know how to say.
Shout out to G. Yeah, G out of character. He said,
I don't know how to say that.
I don't even know how to read this shit.
He kind of agrees with you. He feels like OKC is a back to back. And also shout out to Norman. Norman just said, "Yo, they have draft picks of 2031. Is that the case? OKC got
That's the next 6 years.
Yo,
it's the next 6 years. You're forgetting this is 2025.
Yeah, they got wild draft capital. Yo, they have when I looked at it, it was like, and they still have they have I think 4 picks this year between the first and second round. Then they have 3 next year. I think 2 in the first, 1 in the second. Then there's another with 2 in the first, 1 in the second. Then they got all their first throughout the whole year. But for the next 3 years, they got 2 in the first. That's wild. That's crazy, bro. It's genius.
Both you and Jay are right. Both you and Jay are absolutely correct. I wish we could find a good debate, guys. None of us are arguing today. Q, you're right, and Jay, you're dead.
None of us are arguing today. Where's the disagreements?
The only reason why you don't see that they're being a back-to-back is because you're a Knicks fan, like I am, which means we feel like something will come out of the East to challenge that, but there's no real clear indication of that. They can if the West, if they don't get dethroned and they find themselves back in this position next year, OKC is still clearly better than at least right now, current construction. OKC is still better than any team in the East.
I'm thinking maybe from the West though, right? I'm thinking
that's
realistically.
You're thinking that Houston or somebody dethrones what they already have.
I do, bro. I do.
My point is, if they find themselves being the best team again next year, right? With everything in the mind you, look what you guys just pointed out. Look what they have as draft capital, right?
Crazy.
Which means they can build however they want to fucking build, right?
They're in an
If
excellent
they find
position.
themselves, then they absolutely can go fucking back to back. I have to agree with Norman. It's not unseeable. They'll definitely win another chip in the next 5 years.
I think they'll win another one in the next 3 years. I just don't think they'll go back to back.
Shout out
There's
to
too much
Joel.
parity.
Joel thinks they can win 3 in 6 years.
I agree with. I'm not.
I'm not uncomfortable with that. 3 and 6 makes sense to me.
No, if you're counting this as one, yes.
Yeah.
If you're counting this as one, then I absolutely fucking agree.
Yeah.
They built Presti. Presti did it right.
I think Cash is in the background.
What are you here? Oh, here we go. He's calling to tell us how we drive. How are we doing? How are we driving?
The sticker on the back of the truck.
I know.
Tell us how we're doing.
Yo, stop micromanaging, nigga. Go back and go do something.
Go ahead and tell us how we're doing.
You know what I mean? Like, yo, he's studying us to fucking give us our yearly evaluation or some shit, bro. Like, yeah.
Where's my nigga L at? You know, that's how you know where the fuck are you?
Oh man, but yo, all right. So the last topic, we gotta end this on a New York tip, right? Pause.
Hey, yo!
Wow!
Damn,
fuck, man!
You're not gonna just.
Yo, Jay, did this nigga just ask us for a happy ending? He said we gotta end this on a New York tip. What the fuck
and he tried
about?
to breeze. He tried to get going.
That nigga tried to get the pause on top of that like it was. Listen, I really respect the pause, but
I think Jesus Christ, it's crazy. Oh my God. Wow. No, that reaction was to my words.
Yeah, that shit was vicious. Jesus, yeah, I'm about to exit this chat. That's it, yo. That's it. I'm going home, guys. I'm done for the day. That's it. I don't want to talk no more. I'm gonna just listen to y'all niggas speak. I'm gonna just be a spectator. Holy. Yo, all right, but we gotta end it on a New York topic, right? So
a topic.
Yeah,
what do you say? Stay alert.
Oh man,
stay alert, dog.
Oh Jesus. Oh man. So as you can see, you know what I mean, it's not only just.
Oh, hold on. You're right, Jay. You're absolutely fucking right. You're absolutely fucking right, bro.
Yeah.
You gotta wash it.
I'm doing Blanco.
No, you gotta change your palate after that. Like I need something to help me cleanse the palate. Like
wash my mouth out with soap.
Word.
Man, that's crazy.
We got our composure. All right, we're good now.
Yeah. All right, But so we're gonna end it on a New York topic. You know, I don't know. You guys all saw, you know, the Ocho Cinco and Shannon Sharpe show with Jim Jones on it, but it all started when Jim Jones was on the Joe and Jada show, and you know they were talking about like hip hop and you know how like you know some of the young cats don't know some of the older cats' music, and you know Jim Jones made a statement, and I got a clip. And before we jump into you know any of our comments and thoughts on the topic, you know I'll play the clip. But basically what he said was basically flat out compared himself to NAS, like saying he's just as good. And what's crazy is that you know he compared it and talking about like his gold records, gold songs, platinum, and you know I mean his albums and his hits and the Billboard charts. And then what's crazy is that when you really looked into it, we'll talk. And before we talk about it, let's play the clip, and then you know we're gonna have to speak on this because the topic says it all. Jim Jones is tweaking, B.
He's on that man.
Can I ask you a question, Jim?
Mm-hmm.
You smoke, right?
Yeah.
Were you smoking when you said you better than Nas?
I might have been a little bit. Well, as far as let's get this right. I'm way more influential than Nas, and I don't care what nobody say. I know I made a little boo-boo when we talk about the sales and all this type of shit. I don't feel like getting into that rhetoric about where I started and where he started.
You said that
but listen, Nas was nice when I was in high school. When I was in 10th grade, Nas came out. Nas was dope. We appreciated him. He had a little bit of run. But Nas always came up second to Jay and DMX and all these other people. Like, he
Ain't
never
no
had
shame in that. There
he
a lot
never
of
had,
mofos
he
came up
never had
second to
that
Tom
type of,
Brady.
he never had that type of influence on us, except for his first album. I already told you. I used to want to dress like Nas because he had a lot of fresh clothes that the hustlers used to wear and shit. And we used to see him on TV. He had one of the illest albums of all time. And then in high school when he had the barbecue and shit like that. So I'm a real fan of Nas, but he kind of lost me after the movie Belly and shit like that. Like, I don't.
Man, go ahead on with that, Jim.
I'm trying to tell you, I'm being honest. You asked me, I'm being a fan. I'm telling you, the movie Belly was fire, but after that, he kind of lost me. I think we was way too much into the game. Remember how this goes. You ever heard of a Kofi list?
Yeah.
Yo, go back into your history and find out what happened between us and him. You dig? And I'm not trying to repeat history, but don't play with us when it comes to that, bro. We already went wild on them boys. You heard? We the ones that went wild on them boys. You heard?
Hey, Jim.
Yo, and people out here acting like I said I'm gonna bring the Kofi list back. I just told you I'm a changed man. Steph Law, Key, you dig?
Nah, look, I'm put it to you like this, here, Jim. Hey, bro, you been in this thing, but lyrically, I'm gonna keep it a stack with you.
Yeah,
y'all
but look how you dress. Look how you dress. You don't even be in the same places I be in. And the things
I can be in the church house. You can't F with Nas lyrics. I don't know who told you that. Now look, y'all know you on that good stuff, but you're not seeing Nas. You're not seeing Nas, bro. Let's be real.
You got a bunch of 40 and 50-year-olds in their panties because I said I'm better than Nas.
It don't matter.
Look at you. Look at you.
Ain't nobody from Dipset gonna take you over Nas. Nobody from the Diplomats but you.
I got Hold on, Jimmy. Hold on. Jimmy.
You want to go back to I really mean it? I really mean it started. We could go back to the history, bro.
For you to even
do
say that,
bro. Don't do that, bro. That's
hold on.
Be sticking up for Nas.
I got a question.
Let Nas stick up for itself and meet me in a booth for something if we want to do something historical.
Nas say he don't do that no more. Nas say he don't do that
because he got $100 million. He's a very wealthy man. You heard? He's a very smart businessman. He got a couple business flicks.
Hold on. Jimmy, hold on. I got a question, Unc. Hold on.
Go ahead.
Hold on, Jim. Hold on. Unc, I got a question. And this you do, Jimmy. And anything that you do, right, Unc? I've heard you preach it all the time, right? When you was playing football, your first thing you always say, ain't nobody here better than me.
Tell him again.
You done told me that story a million times. Wait, listen to me now.
Fuck you think I'm gonna be second to anybody in this world? But God,
Jimmy, stay with me real quick. Stay with me now. Stay with me now.
Yeah.
But I'm just saying that mentality, isn't that how you supposed to feel? Isn't that
so?
It's a crazy. Cash cut a long clip. Yo, tell me your thoughts, cause this is New York and we all from Queens.
No, Cash, you're the fucking rapper. Go, nigga.
Q, it's on you.
Yeah, it's you. Yeah, it's on you, Cat. It's on you, Q. You the rapper.
Yo, he's out of his damn mind, B. Like, Nas is literally one of my favorite rappers, and for him to even say that. You know what I mean? I guess debatable for Jay, being on top of one. And I kind of even feel like there was in the periods, if you want to talk hip-hop, I'm a hip-hop head, there was times where Jay did have a better album than Nas. But I don't think DMX didn't. And Jam Jones did it. Like, I know he had a lot of hits. He had a lot of dope singles. And the majority of them shits was under Dipset. Nigga, I've never even heard a whole Jim Jones album until he started doing his new shit with Mano, because that shit is definitely iller than his old shit, and I'll keep it a buck. And Jim Jones can't even really rap like that. You know what I mean? I understand, with any type of subject or any type of profession and any type of artistry, whether it's playing basketball or it's drawing or it's rapping or whatever it may be, working. You always got to feel like you're better than the next person, especially in something that is competitive as rap. I understand that. But you also need to understand when you're fucking wrong, dude, because I could feel like I'm the nicest nigga. I'm not going to try to go up against Big Pun when Big Pun was fucking murdering verses in the streets, B. I know I'm nice. That nigga's just different. You know what I mean? Like, this nigga, that's just straight up lyricism, right? You could say that for anybody that just knows hip-hop. But Nas had the industry in a headlock at one point. And, people weren't really prepared for it. It all came out of one verse. But Jim Jones needed to take a chill pill and sip some lean or some shit. Here's a red cup. What did he call himself? Red Cup Boys, man? Yo, go back to the red cup, B. Because there's all goofy shit and, bringing up all that old shit, B. Like, let's keep it a buck, man. I heard, and I don't even want to tell that story about. I'll let Cash tell that story about his issue with Jim Jones. That shit was funny, but I heard he ain't the biggest, craziest, tough guy neither. So like for him to bring up these topics, he has to understand and be held accountable for his words, especially saying some egregious shit like that. You know what I mean? Like their network is not even the same. Be like, you know what I mean? You gonna tell them that the catalog is like, nigga, Nas made rappers want to rap, and rappers trying to get better.
Facts.
I never heard anybody say, "Damn, yo, Jim Jones made me pick up a pen." You know what I mean?
In Jim Jones's clip just now, it's like, oh, Nas was out when I was in high school. Two things that make Jimmy look crazy. You're only 3 years younger than fucking Nas. So when you say like Nas, like I used to listen to Nas when I was in high school, technically you and Nas could have been in high school at the same time. You was just a freshman and that nigga was a fucking sophomore. Technically, like y'all was in the same fucking high school. Y'all are in the same class. You still Cam's little man. So you can't try to big him up. Like he tried to get a guy an underhanded compliment, right? And that's like a chick trying to blow me and slap my dick out of mouth at the same time. That's how Jimmy sounds.
Whoa.
That's how Jimmy sounds. That's how Jimmy sounds. That's how you sound. Like, yo,
God.
you can't blow that man pause and then realize you sucking dick and then take it out your mouth and get mad at it. That's how you sound, Jimmy. That's how you sound. Yo. And Nas made you pick up a pen.
Yo, you couldn't choose a different analogy.
That was one.
That's the analogy, and I'll put pause on it because that's what it is. You blowing that man, and then you realize you blowing him and trying to make it seem like I didn't mean to blow you. I used to be like Nas, but Nas inspired Cam. Cam inspired you. Nas is literally a staple in hip hop. And you're just a part of hip hop, right? Just like Rakim. I don't give a fuck if you 20 years old, you've never listened to a Rakim album before. If you're a historian of rap, and just like people like jazz or like anything that you're into, right? If you like basketball, I've never seen Oscar Robertson play, but I know not to say that he's not a great one. I could go find the footage to say that's why he's a great one. That's why he's top 100. I've never seen Wilt Chamberlain play, but if I go look at the stats, who's the only man to score 100 points in a game for dope? Wilt. Niggas ain't do that yet. I'm waiting for that to happen again. We're waiting to see a recreation of that. I got to see Mike play. I got to see LeBron play. I understand all these who's the GOAT, this, that, and the third. Even if you want to put it into an era phase, right? Jimmy, you're from Nas's era, stupid. You're not a new nigga saying I think I'm better than Nas, which means I've only been in the game for the last 10 years, and Nas has been in the game for 30 years. Jimmy, you've been in the game for 20 years. No, 25 years to be exact, because Dipset has that fucking run. Cam has that run. You guys just didn't, you didn't do in this time frame what Nas has done in this time frame. Catalog-wise were different. You had to kind of fall back and be the hype man and, ride the Cam wave and let Dipset grow. And then as Dipset did its ups and downs, you try to launch your own, category outside of it because of whatever beef you got with Cam now or whatever. I'm not even gonna call it beef because I know these brothers, but Jimmy, you got a following. You're literally the oldest young nigga, and that's why they like you. You still You Nas, and you're making music for little niggas, and little niggas that didn't never listen to Nas before are going, who the fuck is Nas? Jimmy's more influential. You letting that go to your fucking head, and that's out of character, and it's out of pocket because at the end of the day, you're not even in the game if it weren't for Nas. You followed that blueprint. And I hate the hip hop conversation when it comes down to it. Like, you have to acknowledge, like, you could have said what you wanted to say about, Nas is Nas. I'm not, not saying, you don't got to say I'm not better than Nas without saying I'm not better than Nas. I'm different than Nas. Let's show Nas his flowers. I wouldn't be in this position if it weren't for Nas. Nas don't even have to answer you. Everybody else Shannon Sharpe don't even listen to rap. And he's defending Nas. What the fuck are we talking about here? Like, Shannon Sharpe can't quote one Nas verse, and he knows that what you said was stupid, and you know what you said was stupid. You're playing the algorithm game, but you want us to talk about you, you want us to talk about your music. You could go back to Love and Hip Hop if you just want us to talk about you. Do some shit with Chrissy. Or launch a clothing line if you want us to talk about you. Do the hood fucking weatherman again. We'll talk. If you just want niggas to talk about you, cool. But do not compare yourself musically to someone like Nas, because you're not making music if Nas wasn't Nas.
If you want to look at like you know what it is with Jim Jones is he has this like complex where he feels that it's just so important to make it the world against me, and I'm like I'm holding myself down, and like we all get it, bro. Like we're all holding ourselves down, and he tries to create these viral moments where he's saying things that are so outlandish and so far fetched that he has to create this unreal narrative of everybody's against him type shit, right? And he started it. Like nobody started this except for him. It's not like somebody said, "Yo, let's compare these two people," and then he had to come out and defend himself and say, "Hey, listen, I get Nas is great, but I'm great too. Here's my accomplishments as well." He started this shit. If you watch the original show, Fat Joe was like, "No, we don't got to get into all that." And Jim persisted that he wanted to have that conversation of how he should be compared and be on the same comparison and on the same ballot as a Nasir Jones. It looks utterly ridiculous. The guy is 48 years old, or 49, whatever. I think he's 48 going on 49. And he's talking about they have 40 and 50-year-old people in their panties over this conversation. You are 40 and 50. Right, you're right there. Right?
Exactly, yo. That's my point.
So you have you're in the same exact fucking era. Like it's not
they're like 3 years apart, right?
3 years apart, right? So it looks utterly ridiculous, especially when you start getting into catalogs and you really understand what Nas has done in his career. And remember, it's not like Nas came out with a group. Nas came out and it was fucking Nas. Jim Jones came out as a part of Dipset and then ventured off and kind of established himself as Jim Jones and all the other things that went along with it. But when Nas came out, that's all it was. Fucking Nas. And whether you were a group or whether you were a what do you call it? You aspired to be Nas. You wanted to be as lyrically gifted as he was. You wanted all the different, you know what I'm saying, like metaphorically how smooth and his cadence and the various ways that he would take you on fucking visual missions with his verses. It was an amazing thing to watch. And the only thing I saw that could rival that prior to that would be like a Rakim. You listen to a Rakim album or you listen to the shit that Rakim is saying and you just go on this fucking odyssey of fucking words. And Nas was that. Jim Jones has never taken anybody on a fucking odyssey. Jim Jones records now.
You can't say that. You can't say that because balling was balling.
I'm not talking about, but you're missing my point. I'm not saying that the song itself didn't have a following and that the song itself didn't have a bounce to it or a bop, as people call it nowadays. Ballin' absolutely, sold. And there's even some conversation about who wrote that record, but I'm not going to get into that right now, right? But the long and the short I'm trying to bring out to you is it's one fucking record, dog. Like it's one record. He's had some other really good records.
Hustle Bone was dope. Hustle Bone was fire.
I don't know that song. I'm not going to speak on it or not.
It was the album.
But okay. You know what I'm saying? I don't need to check that out, right? So, but with that being, and I'm his age, right? But with that being said, all I'm saying to you is this. At some point, we have to understand that, well, Jim has to understand. Maybe we don't. Or maybe he won't. Maybe he doesn't have to understand. But it's not a matter of, and I see, like G out of character saying who's more impactful now. It's not really a matter
I knew
of
that was coming. I knew that. I knew that was coming. I wanted to look at some of these comments.
It's not even more about who's more impactful.
G damn near sounds like he's sticking up for Jim, and I understand. And I'm gonna get to some of his comments because I understand.
Yeah,
it's the rapper train of thought.
Because think about this, right? The impact itself has already been made. The impact was made 30 years ago, and we're still feeling the effects of it. If you listen to some of the niggas, if you listen to some of the albums that are coming out right now where niggas are starting to actually spit again, they're sounding like Nas. They're fucking having that flow. Or they're trying to have that. Yeah, they're trying to get back in the fray of how niggas spit. And that shit was all cultivated by
that was crazy. Get the fray of how niggas spit was diabolical. I'm gonna let it go, but that was kind of crazy. I was kind of silly.
Yeah, but yo, just to get to some of G's points, you don't need to be a rapper to understand, what Jim said is fucking diabolical. You know what I mean? Because Jim basically, all right, and keep it like this. All right, so if Jim is so impactful to hip hop right now,
right?
I don't hear him on the radio. I don't see him coming out with an album a year, unless it's with like Mano. I didn't even know he.
And why the fuck does he have to keep? Album? Thank you. Why the fuck does he have to keep calling out other people and speak about other people in order to make himself relevant?
Because
he's that fucking impactful, right?
That's the purpose.
But Rob, if you're that impactful, you don't need that. He's calling out saying shit like Styles P and
that's
Styles
wrong,
P.
and that's a lie.
That was a fucking lie. And Styles P broke him.
And Styles P pulled up in his hood. Styles P
pulled up
stood on his block. No, pulled up on his block and stood there like, yo.
And then broke him down with a verse real quick, right? But and you notice there was no reply to that fucking verse, right? That's the last one.
Better not be.
Right? He wants to call him out. Now he wants to take shots at Nas. He wants to take shots at fucking at Pusha. These are all people that are way more gifted than him. If he's that impactful, what's the reason for him to have to use these other names as a stepping stone to create his impact within a game that he's supposed to be so impactful?
Yeah, and I think when you have an ego, regardless of your record sales, the skill got to show. Because I can name a whole bunch of people that don't have the type of, promotion or whatever it may be, or got to that pedigree of rap. It'll be regardless. You know what I mean? Like, and because you're just gonna shout out and just say, "Yo, look at Nas." Yo, choose another nigga that you want to talk about, bro. Yeah. Don't talk about Nas. You know what I mean? And then make it seem like. And then kind of like retrace your steps, bro. Like, and this is what it gets annoying. Like, if you really want to show that you have that ego and that you're iller, what did I always say? What I always said as a rapper, I said, so get on a track with me, be a feature. Let's go.
Some Magnus is right. Some Magnus is right. What this is really doing for Jimmy, and again, this is why I say it's ass backwards a little bit. If you want us to talk about you, all right, we're talking about you, but we're not talking about your music. And what your statement is I'm more relevant and I'm more impactful to the game. You're not, bro. Jimmy, you can never be. Cam, you Cam's son. Cam is the impactful one. Cam and Mason.
In rap,
it's Cam. Mm-hmm. You're a byproduct of what Cam discovered. Cam is the more impactful one, right? If we really want to talk about it, right? Jimmy, you're a byproduct of You're a subdivision, bro. You're a subdivision. You are as good as you are under the umbrella of a different faction, and it's literally under Dipset. And Dipset wasn't created by you. Dipset was created by Cameron fucking Giles, and Cam was Cam before the rest of you motherfuckers was even a thought. Y'all niggas is in the back of that limo pool and hey ma doing dance moves until he said, now we gotta make you some records. Jimmy,
and to be honest, he's not even the second nicest. He's not even the second nicest nigga out their faction. To be honest, like
no, he's the most. If you want to
Jules
talk about
is.
impact, no. If you want to talk about impactful, you're the second most impactful artist out of Dipset because Juelz wasn't able to hold the crown. You know what I'm saying? Because Jules was the second one that was most that we liked.
That was more gifted,
yeah. We like Juelz more, but you parlayed this shit into being relevant right now. Right? And again, if we're talking about he's more relevant than Nas, that's what I hate about hip-hop fans, man. You can't be more relevant than Nas. Nas got a Grammy within the last 5 years. What has Jimmy ever won a fucking Grammy? Has Jimmy ever won a fucking Grammy? Because not only does Nas have a 30-year fucking career, he won a fucking Grammy within the last 5 years as Unc. He's the fucking OG. Jay ain't won a fucking Grammy in the last 5 years, and Jay-Z is quote unquote the best rapper alive. Nas has won a Grammy out of the King Disease trio. Nas got a record out right now that's bubbling with fucking Slick Rick. And it's better production and it looks better than anything you're doing. Your shit is that Harlem shit. You're trying to use.
Tell them how you really feel, bro. Go.
You're trying to use Instagram and that TikTok and Instagram shit. You already outside of your age, bro. You're not even trying to sell music. You're trying to sell likes. That's what you're trying to do. You're clickbaiting. Clickbaiting is literally a 30-second clip at most. Maybe if you got it in your stories, it'll last a minute. And an average rap song is 3 minutes and 32 seconds, and nobody wants to hear nobody wants to listen to you for 3 minutes and 32 seconds on a consistent basis, Jimmy.
And on that note,
good night, man. What the fuck was we talking about?
On that note, abracadabra.
Somebody bring us out. Yo, shout out to, Rod, everybody tuning in. El was in the chat too. Cash. Shout out to Gianna Character and everybody else, commenting. Make sure you hit the like and subscribe. You know what I mean? Make sure you go check out the link in the description for our merch store. We got a couple of nice handful of shirts over there. At least like 5 or 7 shirts. Yo, some ill Queens, New York, hip hop flavors, multiple colors. Go check it out. Reasonably priced. Ships to your door. Yo. Thank you for tuning in. Who's gonna
Rob, I just did it.
Come on, Rob. Yo, stop sneaking in them shots, man. Yo, because you're doing what you were doing.
I watched you before a shot. I watched you just for a shot, bro.
You're doing You're doing what I do when Cash is the one hosted, man. Yo, that shit is not. That's why Cash don't drink that much, because he be hosted. Yo, man, I have to sneak my shit in, yo.
Hey, yo.
Oh, God. Come on. I thought we were going to be able to ease out the show and just ride off into the sunset on some cool out shit. And then this.
God.
And now this bullshit. Yo, God damn, dog. You almost there. Cue it up.
I don't even want to drink with you, Q.
I think, Jesus Christ, it's crazy.
I don't even want to drink with myself.
Wow. No, that reaction was to my words.
I think. Yo, peace out, man. Yo, this has been another episode of Real Sports Talk. Please like and subscribe, show love. You know what I'm saying? Join in, have some conversation with us. We about the shits, man. Enjoy. Peace.
Peace.
Peace.